Hey, welcome to another Valley Forged. Just a quick chat today, just a little chat about leather and lasers. I just made a really long video on leather and lasers, and it just goes through so much. But we didn't really talk too much about which laser you should buy. I did mention some things, but it's really not as important as you might think. I'll put links below for just whatever my current favorites are, but there's a lot of great ones. And those of you with already a laser, just use the one you have. Settings are the most important thing. But that course is here on YouTube. It's my last video, or you can see it on the ValleyForged laser community, which is on School. So there'll be a link just below for that. And then you can get everything. I'm posting other videos there like saddle stitch and anything else I can find. We just started the school last week, and it's already growing pretty fast. And it's just a better way than YouTube for me to actually, go step by step and be able to tell you everything. But the main videos, a lot of them will be here on YouTube as well. But this particular video, we're just going to kind of go over lasers and which ones are best for leather. And there are some that are not good for leather. And I'm going to mention the ones that I know, or the types that I know. Like, first of all, we could talk right away about and just put out galvo lasers. They're pretty much, in most cases, not going to be good for making anything larger, of course, because they're usually, a smaller workspace. But the problem is that usually with a galvo, it's shooting from one place. And so you may have a 4" by 4" area, and you may think, oh, I could make a card wallet or something. The difficulty becomes, and I'm doing a little thing, is that it shoots that beam around that square. So when it happens, you're going to have an angle on the leather. So all around, you probably, if you have one already, you know how this works. And you end up with these, beveled edges all the way around. And that's kind of cool, actually, on wood or some other things, or even leather for making a keychain. It might look really nice. But say you're doing something like a wallet or a purse or a lot of leather goods where you're going to have several layers that need to match up to each other. Well, if you got an angle on every edge, you can see the issue. So I'm going to recommend against galvo lasers, or, like the small square type that, you like the X tool or something like that. Probably not going to be best for most leather work. I'm just giving you my opinions here as somebody who's worked with leather and lasers for a long time. I'm going to be wrong about some things, but I'm just going to give you everything I know. As far as diode lasers, they are, in my opinion, the best over CO2 lasers for cutting a leather. I don't know why this is. Nobody's explained this to me yet, even though I mentioned it before. But the different wavelength or the different way that they cut, I just get a lot more char on a CO2 laser than I do on a diode laser. This is my experience, even if they're about the same power. Now, does that mean you shouldn't use a CO2 laser for leather? Of course not. Again, use the laser that you have. Even if I had a galvo laser, I'd probably try and figure it out, right? Maybe I could flip it upside down and make some cool edges. Who knows? So use the laser you got and figure it out. But I've got a great laser back there, the Aliencell CO2 laser. It's a 55 watt or whatever. It's fantastic. It does leather great, but not as good as my Atom Stack Craft. And these are both pretty expensive lasers. You're looking a little over $2,000 for the Aliencell. Now, if you want to do acrylic and leather, well, there you go. This is the way to go. But if you are focused just on doing leather, almost any diode laser is going to be great, with some exceptions. The Ortur LaserMaster 3 was specifically terrible at doing leather. It was just the way that the air assist worked, and there was always air on, whether you wanted to turn it on or off. And it got dirty all the time, and it just left a terrible residue just almost all the time. So trying to do just plain leather just almost looked terrible. And if you had a dyed leather and maybe you protect it first, and we'll get into that in a minute, maybe some techniques that you can use to help your laser along. There are ways, but that one pretty much, whether you used air, not air, just whatever you did, it was not a good laser for leather. So if you are interested in a particular kind of laser, it would be best to find reviews, do things like that, ask a question, go to a Facebook group. If you've seen me review it, ask me. I try to put that into my reviews. So especially now, last couple of reviews I did, I definitely made leather part of that. How powerful. I did go over this in the course, but you don't need a very powerful laser to do most leather projects. If you're making belts, obviously you need one with a huge bed, and also that's a very thick leather you're going to be using. You're going to need a certain amount of power and air assist to get through that properly. But for making wallets, usually we're using 3 to 4 ounce leather. 5-watt laser can get through that just fine. Air assist, I think most of the time is the better way to go. There are some lasers where using air assist makes it worse. You just got to play around with your settings. I say all the time, settings are everything. You need to, play with your laser, do tests, figure it out. I know leather is expensive, but you end up saving a lot of money in the end, learning just air, not air, cut speeds. It can all just vary for your laser. It's worth figuring that out. Now, in general, you would think the lower powered lasers, maybe a 10 watt or something, might actually be the best if that laser was made really, really well. There are some go-tos for me. I mean, obviously, Atom Stack, longer. The Toka L2 that I reviewed a while ago, you can just check different prices and see what makes sense to you. But most of the lasers on the market are going to be pretty good at this. So just check the prices, make sure that the air assist works good. Try to ask some questions if this is going to, like I already said, if this is going to be important to you, figure out before you buy it. If you're looking purely for my input, I would say the Atom Stack Craft is all around just the best laser on the market. I truly believe that at this point. It's easy it almost never gets dirty. It just works. And the autofocus, everything is just modern. The autofocus is great. It's something that I can just keep using no matter what I'm doing, and it just keeps going, and it does the work for me. I run an entire business off of the thing for a year, no issues. I replaced one lens cover because I don't remember what I was doing, but it was really, really dirty. So I kind of ruined one lens cover, but that's $20 and that's about the only thing I've done for a year. The air assist is so good. Everything about it. I put my own exhaust, and I say that in almost every video. You see it back there in the back. It's running over to another machine right now. But my air assist, my exhaust is outside, and so it's not very noisy, and it sucks the air out, which is far superior. And if you're using leather, this, I'll mention this in the course, but that's a great way to go. As far as buying really cheap lasers, you can run into the issue. In fact, this one right here, I'll put up a picture of the Art to Loom they sent me. You've got a very low area between where the laser, where the module sits and your material. This is a problem they used to have, the old Atom Stacks, why I didn't like it, and a lot of other early lasers. the distance between your focus at the bottom of the module and your material was so low that just if you know, you're using air assist too, so just a piece of wood, any material, the leather, anything, especially with leather, if it's not completely flat, that module is going to hit on that piece and ruin the whole thing. And so that's another thing that I would definitely make sure that you've got a good amount of distance between the material and the bottom of the module. It's good to watch these whole videos because sometimes I think of things while I'm talking that I'm like, hey, wait a second, remember that. But it's super important. I don't want people wasting leather. I think that's the main thing. I know the Adamstack Craft is quite expensive. It's like $1,700 for the 40 watt, which is, I mean, obviously you could do just about everything with that. 20 watts, a couple $100 less, and it comes with an IR. This isn't some sponsored video by the Adamstack Craft. It's just literally what I use. And I try to tell people, you know, when you're watching reviews, try and look at the thing that creator's actually using. Maybe they use it for business or they use it constantly. That means it's probably a pretty good machine because they can have any machine they want. I can have any machine I want. So why would I choose to use the same one over and over? I was that way about the Rolly Lasermatic back in the day until the Craft came out, because with the Rolly Lasermatic, the fan stayed on all the time and it drove me crazy. But I love the case. Still would rather have that case. But I digress. We're talking about leather and lasers and what laser that you should get. Have I gone over everything? Is there other things that I haven't thought of that are important to you? You can leave them as a comment down below. I will answer you. We can talk about this at school more in depth, and maybe I can put videos with you or whatever, or make actual recommendations. We can go over the lasers together or something like that. It is something that's important. I have a leather and lasers section for comments in the school, and I would like everybody to be able to have this conversation. And then I can learn more, and it will help me help you, which is pretty important. And the last thing is if you're going to make a comment about something or one of my videos, there's no reason to just be nice about it. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? This is a laser community. This is why I love the laser community. 99% of us, we're just easygoing, down to earth people, just having fun with lasers. And that's kind of way I like that's why I love this community, and kind of like to keep it that way. So it's my own little thoughts. But let's help each other, and I hope I covered what you wanted to hear, and I'll see you in the next one. Love y'all.